Grab your cups. It don't matter what you sipping on. Grab it. I got some tea. Let's sip. Y'all got y'all cups? Okay, here's what's going on. Donald Trump and Senate Republicans are going at it over there at the Congress. There was a bipartisan bill that passed on yesterday, a housing bill. Okay, stay with me. The bill is titled 21st Century Road to Housing Act, and it passed the House and it passed the Senate on a bipartisan basis. The bill speeds up housing construction, which means more housing will be built in a faster period of time. It reduces regulations. It limits, this is the big one, this is the biggest problem that we are having that this bill is addressing. It limits large institutional investors from buying up single-family homes in some circumstances. What those circumstances are, I don't know. But limiting investors from buying up all of these single-family homes, that will help reduce a huge amount of the problem, okay? And the bill also improves housing affordability. Now, I do believe that part of the bill includes rentals, okay? What it includes, I don't know. I don't know the specifics, but yeah, when you go to do your research, you want to research the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. I saw a video clip in regards to this bill with Senator Elizabeth Warren on yesterday. And Senator Elizabeth Warren was pissed off because what happened was the Senate Republicans and Donald Trump met yesterday at a luncheon. Donald Trump walks in with all of his bravado and says he is not signing this bill until they pass the SAVE Act. Y'all remember the SAVE Act, right? It is not going to pass. Democrats stand fully against it, and some Republicans stand against it. And so they don't have the votes to pass this bill. Okay? Remember, the SAVE Act was the bill that Donald Trump wants to pass to try to suppress votes in November. It's the bill where they are requiring people to show proof of their citizenship should they go to register to vote, or in some cases go to cast their vote. Now, what's considered proof as citizenship? We've talked about this a few times over here on this channel. It's not driver's license. It's birth certificate, naturalization papers, or your passport. Those are the acceptable proof of citizenship. That's going to cause a problem for millions of people, specifically married women in this country. Why? If you go to vote and your driver's license has your married name on it, and the person that's checking you in is questioning you for some reason, asks you for additional proof that you are a citizen, and you hand over your birth certificate and your birth certificate doesn't match your driver's license name, what you think they gonna do? So for millions of married women in this country, this can be a very serious problem for them to cast their vote. And Donald Trump knows it. That's why he wants this passed. The issue would really come into play here in red states. Hi, Georgia resident here. red state or purplish red state. The leadership in this state is red. A lot of us voters are blue, purplish red state. The leadership brings forth the bills and the legislation. And you can best believe that if this were to pass, they would get busy up at the Georgia State House to bring about a new bill, new legislation to require you to show proof of citizenship along with your driver's license in order to cast your vote. That's why Donald Trump is like a pit bull when it comes to this legislation. He wants this act passed. But the problem is, again, they don't have the vote. So what does he want them to do? He wants them to figure out a way to maneuver, to remove the filibuster, all of these different tactics he wants to try to employ. And that still just isn't going to work. You don't have the votes. That housing bill, Republicans were so excited to work with Democrats to get that bill passed in the House and in the Senate. Why? Because that would be the one bill that they can take out there on the campaign trail for November. Look, y'all, we work together with Democrats. Forget all of the other shenanigans that has been going on. We have worked together with Democrats to pass this housing bill so that your housing will be more affordable, more houses will be built, and investors will be cut at a limit on how many houses they can purchase. Baby, they were so excited about this bill. And then Donald Trump said, bitch, I ain't signing it. Fuck you and whatever it is that you're trying to do to get reelected. Hell, I'm trying to keep my seat. I'm trying to do what I need to do, not to get impeached. And that's the SAVE Act. Baby, they are buckling and knock down, drag out fight. They are in the mud over there at that lunch. Donald Trump does not give a flying fuck about the Republicans in the House or in the Senate. We all know that they were there to uplift all of Donald Trump's shenanigans. It's now to the point where they are realizing that, yeah, they've put themselves on the line for Donald Trump, who does not give a shit about them. I believe Donald Trump is purposely trying to sabotage them. Donald Trump knows that this is his last hurrah. He knows it. And he doesn't care what happens to the Republican Party after this is done. He just wants his name to go down in the history books as some savior, a bringer of the golden era, when the history books will remember him as nothing of the sort. That's why he wants his name on everything. Anywho, so Donald Trump, that one piece of legislation that they would be able to tout, Donald Trump said, bitch, it ain't happening. I don't give a shit about what you wanted to do. It ain't happening. I'm not signing it. I'll sign it when you all get the SAVE Act passed. And that's just not going to happen. But wait, there's more. They also having a knuckle down, drag out fight about the Iran war. Bill Cassidy went head to head with Donald Trump. Voices were raised. Bill Cassidy said he met Donald Trump's energy. You said this war was supposed to last 4 weeks, and here we are months later, and the bullshit is still going on. One of the White House reporters caught up with Senator Bill Cassidy to ask what went down. Here's what he said.
The president was wondering why people would vote for the War Powers Act. I asked him if that would be a rhetorical question or a real question. He said real. And so as we began to speak, the president didn't want to hear my question, interrupted me. I didn't care to be interrupted. I felt like I was trying to get answers for the American people. And I'm not going to be bullied when I'm trying to get answers for the American people. And so it escalated from there. At some point, it de-escalated.
We're told the president called you a lunatic?
Can I imagine that the president called me things that would be said on the school, on a playground? Yeah, I can imagine that.
Does it bother you that he went after Leader McConnell, who wasn't here to defend himself?
If there's somebody I know who's got thick skin, it's Leader McConnell.
I mean, do you believe that this is the way the president should be conducting himself in a meeting with colleagues?
I'll let the president's actions speak for themselves.
Did you refer to him? We're hearing reports that you referred to him as a brother at one point, and there was that sort of contentious.
I don't think that's really important to the story. I don't.
And I mean, I'm sure I know the answer to this, but you don't regret at all the vote for the War Powers resolution yesterday.
As I said, and I've said before, that once I start getting answers, I can change my vote. But I feel like there's answers that need to be given, and they've not been given. And that's important to the Senate. And it's important to the Senate. It's important to the American people.
All right, guys.
All I want is answers. Thanks.
Thanks, sir.
Allow me to translate that for y'all. I'm going to be Senator Cassidy, okay? Basically, what Senator Cassidy is saying is to Donald Trump is, bitch, because of you, I lost my re-election bid. You thought I was weak? You thought I was a punk? You thought I was a pussy? Bitch, I'm going to show you. Until I leave this here office in January of 2027, I'm going to show you how weak I am. I'm going to be all over your shit. I got till January 2027. I'm going to show you who the punk is. You know that's what Senator Cassidy is saying. And yes, Senator Cassidy was one of those Republicans that voted to pass that war bill, where the War Powers bill, where it's symbolic. Donald Trump is not going to pay attention to that bill, but it's supposed to stop Donald Trump from starting up a war again with Iran. But you see why that's not going to work? Donald Trump is going to go back to war if they don't get a ceasefire deal. He's going to go back to war, and he's not going to think twice about it. You know why? Because the Supreme Court gave Donald Trump presidential immunity, and he knows it. So he don't give a fuck about what it is that Congress got to say. But baby, they ain't the only ones who's fighting. Benjamin Netanyahu is rising up against the United States. And he is publicly putting it out there that he wants to separate himself, Israel, from the United States. Israel must build independent armaments network to end U.S. aid dependency. I had to get this from the Jerusalem Post because you know they ain't talking about this shit over here in the United States. One of my mutuals over on TikTok, I follow her over on Threads, and she posted about it and she shared a video. I'm gonna share the video clip with you after I read this little blurb right here to give you a synopsis of what's going on. But yeah, you know they ain't talking about it over here. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated his commitment to phase out American military assistance to Israel during a meeting with reservists at a combat officers course in Gush Etzion last Thursday. Quote, right now, we are standing against Iran and its proxies. We have dealt them blows. It is not over yet. It depends on our strength. Where we will be 30 years from now depends on our strength. Therefore, what we are doing right now is building great strength. This is what Bibi is saying. I want armaments independence. I deeply appreciate the support we have received and which I have also brought over the years from our American friends. Today, I say we need our own independent armaments network. We must manufacture our own armaments, end quote. He goes on to say, quote, to break free from dependency, to build more and more power, to integrate more and more technology, and to train more and more generations of commanders like you, because that is what will ultimately determine where we will be. With God's help and with your help, we will be in a good place. So after they have sucked the life out of the United States, now they want to move on to claim their independence from the United States. After years of getting billions upon billions of dollars, after years of them hooking into our political system and have torn it up from the inside out, now that we are dealing with a burning down of the United States, now they want to separate in search of their own independence, to build up their own country separate from the United States. I say good fucking riddance. Y'all know how I feel about them. I said a long time ago, they are like a fucking anchor around the necks of American citizens. They are chaos demons. Good fucking riddance. But as Bibi Netanyahu was out here giving these little speeches, J.D. Vance wasn't liking it very much. This is what J.D. Vance had to say.
Is that you've seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal, and in some ways very personally attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world's superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world. 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. The problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. And anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the President of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation.
Y'all enjoying y'all drink? Baby, this coffee is good this morning. Now, two things can be true. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are pieces of shit. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are liars and chaos demons. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are the only president and vice president within the last 4 or 5 presidents to fall for Bibi Netanyahu's bullshit. And for them to fall for Bibi Netanyahu's bullshit, and for then Bibi Netanyahu to say, bitch, we want to separate from y'all. Y'all are not as maniacal as we need y'all to be. Y'all wanna settle differences. Y'all want to negotiate a ceasefire. No, we want to continue to genocide these people. We want that land. We need that land. We want to become our own superpower. So if it means genociding the people in Lebanon and in Gaza, either you're on board or we want to separate. The problem is Bibi Netanyahu, for whatever reason, him and the people in his cabinet, they have blinders on, because the truth of what J.D. Vance said is that they are despised all across the world. It's not just Americans that ain't feeling what the Israeli government is doing, what Bibi Netanyahu and his cabinet are doing to the people of Gaza and Lebanon and Iran. It's not just us who are sick and tired of funding their maniacal genocidal actions. It's people all across the world who are sick and tired of Israel and all of their shenanigans that they have been pulling all across the world. J.D. Vance is right. Trump and his regime are the only ones that was trying to work with them fools. Listen, that's all I got. Did you enjoy it? Let me know down below. I enjoyed delivering this to y'all. See y'all later.